Hello and welcome to our WIFR FastCast. Temperatures will feel like sub-zero here for the remainder of our Monday and for parts of our Tuesday. Let's take a look at our hour-by-hour timecast. So, taking a look at things out there, yeah, certainly on the chilly side there, and even though those numbers are what they are, it certainly is not what it feels like out there. Of course, right now we're sitting at about 6 degrees there, and from here on out, it does look like things are only going to be getting colder. You can see as we continue on throughout the evening, pretty much after we hit the 5 o'clock hour, we're sitting at about 2 degrees there before we shift down to 1 at midnight and 0 by the time we get a little bit further into our early Tuesday morning. That being said, I know that we have some 20 to 25 mile per hour winds here that are making the temperatures seem very, very cold with some of those sub-zero, below zero temperatures out there. So if you are for any reason planning on heading outdoors for whatever reason, you're going to want to make sure that you are bundling up, making sure you're wearing those hats, mittens, scarves, anything to protect your face. Of course, our First Alert Weather Center is making sure that we're keeping you guys updated with everything that you need in terms of anything you need when it comes to protecting yourself from some of that cold. And of course, also several state line buildings will be open this week to provide heat from those sub-zero temperatures. In Winnebago County, Carpenter's Place, Rockford Rescue Mission, and Brook Road United Methodist Church will be open. And of course, the Loves Park City Hall Gymnasium in Loves Park, Ida Public Library in Belvedere, and the Belvedere Oasis will also be open. And again, we have a full list of warming centers on our website at WIFR.com. The Winnebago County Coroner's Office names Leslie Moreno Rivera and a teen girl the victims in a deadly crash Friday night. Investigators say Moreno Rivera was driving in the 600 block of North Mulford Road when she lost control of her car and hit a large stone street sign. Both girls were taken to a nearby hospital where they later died. Family members say 14-year-old Isa Marie was the second person named in the crash. GoFundMes have been set up to help cover the funeral costs of both girls. No charges will be filed in the death of a Winnebago County inmate. According to the Winnebago County State's Attorney's Office, in June 2025, Ruben Yanez was in jail for vehicle theft charges. He was treated at a hospital for a brain bleed, but claims it was from attempted suicide. Yanez is accused of punching a light and making suicidal statements. Correction officers would later find Yanez unresponsive in his jail cell. He was taken to a hospital and later died. An autopsy would show Yanez died of re-bleeding in his brain. The state's attorney's office says corrections officers tried saving Yanez's life and no charges will be filed. The NAACP Rockford chapter mourns the loss of its president, George Scott Jr., who died this past weekend. He saw more than 18 committees dedicated to fighting injustice. Before his passing, Scott was working to form a credit union to empower Rockford residents financially. He was also trying to address access to healthy foods in the area by organizing a mobile grocery truck and pushing for community gardens. Details about his funeral will be announced later this week. New video shows a Rochelle house and barn destroyed that killed a person Sunday. Fire crews were sent after 2 in the morning to the 8,000 block of South Thorpe Road. When crews arrived, they found the home covered in flames with a man inside. A dozen fire departments came out to put out the blaze. Rockford investigators look into a house fire Saturday evening that left $25,000 in damage. Firefighters found smoke coming from the home in the 900 block of Westchester. Crews were able to put out that blaze in about 20 minutes. A 77-year-old Dixon man is safe after he was reported missing over the weekend. Michael McLaughlin was last seen Saturday in the 400 block of South Dixon Avenue. After hours passed, Dixon police took to social media asking for the public's help. Later that day, police got a call that a person was yelling for help in the area of Countryside Lane. Police would later find McLaughlin in a wooded area. And the Supreme Court could make it easier to carry a firearm inside a private business. A Hawaii state law creates a permission process to bring a gun inside private property. WIFR Washington correspondent Brendan Cullerton breaks down the case from the Supreme Court.
Gun safety groups say Hawaii's law keeps residents safe, but critics say it effectively bars people from carrying a firearm in about 97% of the state. The Supreme Court must decide if the law violates the Second Amendment.
I've been litigating Second Amendment cases in Hawaii for about 14 years.
Attorney Alan Beck says Hawaii is consistently looking for loopholes around the Second Amendment. In this case, the state says in order to carry a gun into a private business like a coffee shop or grocery store, a firearm owner needs permission ahead of time.
These laws, if they were being enforced, they would require that that only the streets and sidewalks are where you can exercise your Second Amendment rights.
Fellow Second Amendment attorney Kevin O'Grady says Hawaii made the request process overly difficult.
That includes the parking lot, and authority to enter can only be given by certain people. And so basically, you would not have that ability.
The Brady Institute contends guns rights advocates are dramatically overstating how difficult it is to ask the property owner for permission.
If you come into a grocery store, for example, and you want to bring your gun with you, all you have to do is go to an employee and ask if that's okay.
Brady says this is more of a property rights case than a gun case, and property owners have always been able to ban firearms on their land. They argue this law just sets the assumption that the answer is no until permission is granted.
It allows owners to make a choice before they are confronted by somebody with a weapon. So it puts the control in the property owner's hands, and there's no reason that that violates the Second Amendment.
There are 5 states, including New York, with similar gun laws. Those could all be impacted if Hawaii's law is deemed constitutional. In Washington, I'm Brendan Cullerton.
Germs are everywhere these days, and oftentimes it's our kids that spread them. One Rockford mom springs into action with a new product meant to limit the spread of germs. Annette Carmichael invented the Peer Sip. It's a multi-spout cup created to solve a common parenting headache: kids who want just one sip of their parents' drink. Perfect timing for the current cold and flu season. WIFR Sydney Stoffregan spoke with Annette on her product, which can make life cleaner and easier for parents. And according to a new Lending Tree study, childcare costs 32% more than rent for many families across the country. Consumer investigator Rachel DePompa dives into the numbers.
Lending Tree found across most of the biggest cities in America, the cost of childcare for a family with 2 kids is significantly more than the cost of rent. Matt Schultz with Lending Tree says that's a major challenge for families that are already stretched thin, making ends meet and putting food on the table. Lending Tree found the average monthly cost of full-time center-based childcare for 2 children across the 100 largest metros is $2,252.
And it's causing people to make sacrifices, because in a lot of cases you may have one parent who wants to go back to work and build their career and have that sort of outlet. But a lot of times when you go back to that job, all you're essentially doing in that job is putting all that money towards childcare.
Schultz says there's really nowhere in the country where childcare is inexpensive. He says it's something that young parents need to be prepared for and also start to save for almost right away.
The sooner you can start saving for the cost of childcare, the better off you'll be. I mean, obviously that's way easier said than done. And it's not like we all have a ton of expendable income to throw into savings, but the more you can save in advance, the better off you'll be.
He says especially if you can take advantage of a high-yield savings account. He says if you can shop around for your child care, price out several facilities, that will help. Also, look at the child care center's history, safety records, and look at reviews from other parents. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
And of course, those stories and more will be coming up in our shows this afternoon and this evening at about 4, 5, 6, and 10. And of course, with the cold weather that we have here today, and as well starting off our Tuesday, we want to make sure that we're keeping you guys safe. So we ask that you guys download our WIFR First Alert Weather app. I'm going to leave this QR code up here for just a quick second, but our First Alert Weather team is hard at work making sure that keep things updated there. Of course, with the extremely cold temperatures out there, as well as those wind chills, we want to make sure that we're keeping you guys safe wherever you are. Of course, we also want you guys to download our WIFR News app. Of course, this is a separate app, and we're going to leave this QR code up here for just a quick second for you, but you're going to want to make sure that once you do download these apps, you're going to want to hit allow notifications, and once you do allow those notifications, those little alerts that are going to pop up there right on your home screen, all you got to do is just tap on those, and it should open up to the latest updated WIFR news article or WIFR First Alert weather article. And then, of course, like you can see behind me, the big TVs at home, we want you guys to make sure that you guys are downloading our WIFR app on those TVs as well. We're available on Amazon TV, Roku TV, Android TV, and Apple TV as well. Thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you coming up here very shortly for WIFR News First to 4 with Sydney Stoffregan. Thanks for watching.